So today I'm going to be sharing how to get your jaw surgery hopefully covered by health insurance. I'm also going to be sharing some tips and tricks on how to make this whole process as affordable as possible. I know all this because I myself am now 7 weeks post-op from double jaw surgery. If you want to see my journey, my before and afters, my healing process, or just follow along as I document and share any useful, helpful information, feel free to subscribe to my channel, check it out, check out my other videos. But this video is just going to be specific to this. And let's get right into it. So generally, you're going to be working with either a surgeon who is covered by health insurance or a surgeon who is completely out of network of all health insurances. For my examples here, I'm talking about the US, and particularly for sleep apnea patients. So with both those cases, you're going to want, at minimum, it's generally recommended two things. You're going to want a sleep test, and you're going to want some machine data, so like some CPAP data, some BiPAP data. What I have up on screen is my sleep test. From what I've heard in my experience, you're going to want a sleep test as recent as possible. Hopefully as recent as 12 months, and if not within the past 12 months, 2 years is generally the cutoff from what I heard from my office. Mine was actually just outside of the 2-year mark, but I still got approved on the first attempt. And if you don't already have a sleep test, I'd recommend getting a WatchPAT. This is an at-home sleep test that apparently measures with very good accuracy and is only a couple $100. I'm not affiliated with anything I mentioned throughout this video, by the way. How to get your CPAP data? I would download this. This is the go-to software. This is Oscar, it's called, and it is an open source data that's free to download. You can go to sleepfiles.com/Oscar to find this page. That is exactly how I got my sleep reports. So I did 2 reports, one with my CPAP and one with my bi-level data, and I just exported the PDF from Oscar and submitted just 2 reports, both 2 pages long, showing that I use this machine and reporting that, of course, this isn't sufficient, hasn't worked well enough for me. To keep in mind, most laptops or computers nowadays don't have a way to read SD cards, because you're going to need an SD card in your CPAP or in your machine to read and store this data to then share. You can buy one of these things online. It has an SD port on the side, and these plug into your computer. Just maybe 15-20 bucks. So hopefully you have your sleep test showing that you have sleep apnea, and you have some overviews, preferably 3 months in length, showing your machine data. That generally might be enough, or generally is enough, for submitting to surgeons that are in network. If you have a surgeon that generally does not take any health insurance, you might want to bolster your case as much as possible. I did end up sharing every little device that I did try and treat my sleep apnea. This is an example, BongoRx, one I bought for a couple $100 and got prescribed. It ultimately didn't work, but it might have helped build my case to be a little bit stronger. If you did Mouthpieces or say the didgeridoo, it might be useful in adding that for your case as well, particularly if your surgeon is not in network generally. Some good resources in case you're not getting approved on the first attempt. I ended up getting approved the first attempt, but if you're not, I would work with Paxos Appeals. They are a group of law students who all needed sleep apnea surgeries, and this is their expertise. So I worked with them a couple years ago as I was thinking about using a different surgeon. Good group. They have free guides, so you can do this all on your own if you want to spend that effort and you can't afford getting their help, or you can pay for their services. Another useful resource would be DollarFor.org. I've used them for other medical bills. They can help fight medical bills after you get billed or charged. And this is free to use. They're just donation based. So some helpful resources here. Let me see what else I want to touch upon. If you're having trouble along the way or have some more questions or looking for more details, Reddit, REDDIT, is usually a good resource. ApneaBoard is also a good forum online that could be helpful along the way. Reddit has multiple subreddits or forums that you could find other people going through a similar process. Those would be sleep apnea subreddit or CPAP subreddit. If you're going for a doctor that is not generally covered by health insurance, you want to make sure to fight that the surgeon you're going with provides a service that is not available in network doctors. So make sure you kind of lean in on that and fight for your specific reason on why you need this specific doctor. And sometimes fighting to get jaw surgery covered for sleep apnea, people hit some resistance. I've heard of people then navigating to getting jaw surgery covered then for other reasons, like having a bad bite or having swallowing issues due to having recessed jaws. So those might be other options as well. So that's basically it. Whether you're working with an in-network surgeon or a surgeon who's not with health insurance, you're going to want to include as much as possible. And then if you don't get accepted or pre-authorized on your first attempt, definitely appeal multiple times and use the resources I showed and more to try and get that process or try and get this surgery covered. If neither of those do work, you do have another option, which is going out of country, out of the US, which is what I'm talking about here. I've heard of good jaw surgeons or good sleep apnea surgeries available in countries like Germany, Spain, and countries in South America. So those might be useful to look into if you're hitting even more resistance. You can find more details on those definitely in those different subreddits I mentioned. All of this process can be extremely expensive, and these are just generally what I found as helpful. Keep in mind, if in the US, if your health bills exceed a certain amount of your income for a year, you can write those off on your taxes. I think it's roughly about like 10% of your income. So you can look into that as well. And what I personally did was also pick up a side gig pre-surgery to help fund all of this. As even if you get pre-authorized and they kind of show you what price you're going to pay, you're probably going to pay more just in additional bills or materials or travel, whatever it is. So I think that's a general overview. I got approved within a month of submitting, and it was on my first attempt. And what I submitted was a sleep test that was a little over 2 years old, showing just, let's see how much, just showing 6.1 events per hour. But it also showed me trying 2 different machines for 3 months or more and reporting that neither of those worked well for me. Work with your surgeon's office if you can, and then if not, work with these resources I provided. If this video was helpful, definitely leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'm trying to keep this as kind of quick but yet useful as possible. Maybe I retouch this in the future and make a much more detailed walkthrough on this whole process. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. See you next week.